Pastor Timothy E. Finley Jr. I am very excited to talk with you today about Kingdom Connect. I know for the past few weeks you've heard a lot about Kingdom Connect. During our pre-worship show, we unveiled the launching of it. And just last week, you should have received information from your Jewel Group leader on how to access Kingdom Connect. But specifically on today, I want to do a tutorial or a walkthrough on what you can expect to see the first time you log into Kingdom Connect. So you may be asking, if you're not familiar, Kingdom Connect is Kingdom Fellowship's online partner and contributor portal that now allows you the ability, or gives you the ability, to update your own personal information. Should you move, you can now update your phone number and your email address or your address. Or most importantly, you can now download your giving and contribution statements. As we prepare for our 2020 tax season, one of the challenges of COVID-19 is trying to determine, how do we get this information to our partners? How do we put this information back into their hands? And Church Connect has been the answer. So give me a second, let me log in, and then take this tutorial with me. God bless. So as you're logging in, the first thing the information you should have received is that to access the part portal, you will need to go to KFCLC.churchtrack.com, and that's KFCLC.churchtrack.com. The great thing I think I like about the welcome screen is that you don't have to log in to be able to view some of the apps that's available, some of the additional functions that we have available. You can read the frequently asked questions. You can worship God through giving. If you're interested, you can gain more additional information about how to get involved with the ministry. The important thing about Kingdom Connect is that this is another way to help you stay engaged and for us to stay connected with you without having to go to the church website. This is your own portal. You can download there's not an app yet, but what you can do is you can save this website to your phone, and you can access it anytime. So for the very first time, if you have, when you log in, you're going to follow the prompts. This is a very user-friendly system, very user-friendly. When you log in for the first time, you will have to register or create an account. And you'll go here and it says create an account. When you do that, you will need to use the email address that we have on file for you. Once you do that, it will send a temporary passcode to the email address we have on file, and it'll say, hey, welcome to Kingdom Fellowship Christian Life Center, Church Connect. Please create or please set up your account. Now, once you do all of that, it takes maybe about 2 to 3 minutes. But once you create the account, then you will come back to the main screen and you will then log in. So while this is logging in, let's see here, just give me a second. Great. Okay. So right here from the main screen. So once you're logged into the system, this is how you know that you're logged in. One of the questions I think that will come up is that what happens if my email address is not recognized? If your email address is not recognized in the system, you will be prompted to fill out a form that will ask you your name, your email address, and some other information. Once you fill out that form, it will go to our ear team. Our ear team will actually go through the form, review it, and then connect it to your existing account. Should there be an issue, someone will reach out to you to get the issue resolved so that you can gain access to your portal. So here we are, we're at the main screen. Again, it gives you the same options you had before you logged in. You can get your frequently asked questions, some other items that you do. Again, you can worship God through giving. You can get more additional information of ministry, and you can also submit your prayer requests. One thing that I want you to know about the prayer request, it will take you to our church website where you can securely submit your prayer request. That information is only shared with our prayer team. So now that we're at the main screen, if you look here, you have from the main menu, you now have the option to look at my profile. So I created a profile for Jane Doe, so she's not real, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I just wanted you to see what the screens would look like, what information is available. So I pre-populated some information about Miss Jane Doe, and as you can see here, we have the family role. One thing I want to point out about the family role is that if you have a family profile connected in our system where you may be married or you may have children and all of the profiles are connected together, you can designate if you are the spouse, if you're the primary contact, and if you're the child of your other, you can designate that. And the whole purpose of that is it tells us who in that family dynamic, who do we need to contact. It's not necessary, but it does help. Again, we have our birthday information, our mobile phone. One thing that we really are trying to get better at and we want to do is we want to make sure we have the right demographics for our partners. As we move with some of the new initiatives that we're doing here at Kingdom, you know, we may be contacting you through text message. We have a host of different applications that we can use to get in contact with you on. So we want to make sure that we have a great starting point of how to get in contact with you and the information that we have is accurate. So when you log in for the very first time, make sure you confirm that we have the right information for you. As the system states here that you can use the fields below to edit your profile. And once you make the changes are saved automatically. You don't have to do anything once you populate that information. Okay. Here, this is how we'll communicate with you. If we're writing, like say a letter, how do you want us to address you? Do you want us to address you as Mr. or Mrs. Jane Doe, or we have an informal section? So again, this is just another section of demographic information that we would want you to look at and populate so that we're addressing you as you request. There's nothing more to discuss there. So let's go ahead and look at the giving history. So when you go to my giving history, I think this is where I'm going to spend a good amount of time on, because one, this is where a lot of the changes that we've made is centered around the giving history. So we're going to start here at your start date and your end date. These are the days. So when you're populating your giving statement or you want to see your giving statement, you can go back. We've been using this system for about 4 years now. So you can go back 4 years and obtain your information. Previously to this year, the same information, the information in which you received your giving statements was actually being pulled from this system. So you're going to be seeing the exact same format when you print it out. So let's kind of do a quick test. We're going to go back and look at Miss Jane Doe's 2020 giving contributions. You're going to set your date parameter. So if you want to look for everything that you did in 2020, you want to start with January 1st, 2020, and then you want to end with December 31st, 2020. As you can see, once you do that, it's not going to pull up the information on the main screen, because the main screen is reserved for looking at the contributions for which in the current year. But what you do is once you set your date parameters, you'll click View Statement. And when you click the View Statement, what it will do, it will download a Word document and it'll be in the letter format. And as that's pulling up, then I can walk you through that. So here's an example of what you can expect to see. With Miss Jane Doe, this has all of her giving information that we have loaded in the system. So here's one thing I want you to kind of keep in mind. Prior to March 2020, we were loading or documenting giving contributions every week. Now that we're in service and we moved to primarily electronic giving, you're going to see a gap in your giving. So you'll see entries from January to March, but then there'll be a gap in giving, and it'll go from January to March, and then you'll see one batch load for the month of December. December's entry is capturing all of your giving that you've done electronically from March until the end of the year. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so now you have a visual of what that would look like. Let's go back to the main giving screen here. So now that we're in 2021, you'll see that there's one entry for 2021, and this is for visual, from a visual perspective. We've entered a given amount so that you can see on the screen. Anything that you're giving for each month will now be displayed on this screen. We will have all the entries for the previous month. So beginning of February, you'll see one batch load for your electronic giving in January. And we'll continue to do that until the end of the year. So at the end of 2021, you should have 12 entries, one for each month. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is that there's a statement on the screen that talks about online giving using a credit card or debit card will show up on your giving history within a few minutes. Because this is still a manual entry, this statement doesn't apply. We're looking at how can we start utilizing a different platform that will give us that access within minutes. However, as of today, these are manual entries, and you will see one entry each month that will be populated by the first week of the following month. So as of right now, that's it. That's Church Track. That hopefully this tutorial was helpful to you. If you have any additional questions, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can come back to you here. Okay, if you have any additional questions, we encourage you to first view the frequently asked questions. It goes through a series of questions that we may have received while we were developing the portal, and we put those questions out there for you to review. But if you still need help and you still have questions, I encourage you to send your inquiries to kfclc.trustee.ministry@gmail.com. Let me repeat that again for you. That's kfclc.trustee.ministry@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to review your inquiry and get back with you to help you navigate and access your account. So again, we thank you for partnering with Kingdom Fellowship. We look forward to worshiping with you in the near future. So again, thank you on behalf of our pastor, Pastor Timothy E. Finley Jr.